What's up, Pyromaniac? Pyrostasis here, and today we're going to be doing a mod spotlight on the thermal expansion. This is one of my favorite mods that's been used pretty extensively in Tekkit and Feed the Beast recently, and it's one of the mods that kind of got me away from using IC2 as much, because previously I was very dependent on IC2 for like their macerators and things along those lines, but I just like the way the thermal expansion works. I think it's a little bit more functional, a little bit more easy to use, and it's got some really cool features that I think were lacking from IC2 and other mods similar to that. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of it. So the first two machines that you guys are going to probably want to build once you get started is the Pulverizer and the powered furnace. Now both of these are fairly low tech. You can see with the Pulverizer, it's just going to want a piston, 2 flint, some copper ingots, and then you're going to see 2 new icons here. Now the redstone reception cell is basically just gold and redstone. That is used pretty commonly throughout these machines. And you're also going to see the machine frame, which is just glass, gold, and iron. Also fairly easy to make. The nice thing about these is it kind of gets past that initial blockage that you bump into with IC2 where you have to get the rubber. Now, you're maybe thinking, well, why would I want to switch over from that? You know, maybe I don't have a problem with rubber. Maybe I just like my macerator a whole lot. Well, let me show you some of the cool features that you can get with the Pulverizer as opposed to the macerator. Now, first off, the nice thing about these that you're going to get, let me pull some of this stuff out real quick. The Pulverizer is going to do very similar to what your macerator is going to do. It's going to grind up and give you 2 ores per cycle. The nice thing about that, though, is you also have the option of getting a third mystery ingredient, which for iron is going to be ferrous metal. For copper, I believe it's gold. For tin, I think it may be gold for tin as well. Each of the different ingots have a secondary ingredient that they have a chance. I think it's about a 20% chance of creating. So with that, you get that nice bonus. Now, what you may be asking now is, well, I saw you put the ore in there. Where did it go? Well, the nice thing about these machines is you can see right down here they have a configuration list. Now, when you first see this, it's a little confusing. Let me kind of explain how this works. Each of these represents a side. So this is the top, this is the bottom, this is the right side, this is the left side, and this one right here is the back. And if you look, you can kind of see that each of them color coordinates based on what you've got. So this one will fill the yellow slot or remove the yellow slot with through the top or through the bottom. So if we were to have pulverized ferrous metals there, they would, and we had like maybe another machine on top or a chest, it would dump the yellow slot either top or bottom. It will get its stuff for this slot right here on the right, and it's going to spit out its red, since we've got a furnace right next door, to the left. So let me show you guys how that works. One other thing I want to point out before we do this, you notice I've got 3 ores right here. As soon as I place those in, it disappears. The nice thing about this is it allows you to put, like, let's say 1 copper ore in, and it starts working on that, and then you can go ahead and put your stack of iron in on top of that. Now you're going to notice all of this is filling in right here, and this is all of the dust that are coming through here, and they're instantaneously being placed over here with no need for a pipe. You just have to have them connecting. Now, like the other furnace, we have the blue slot, which is right here, connected and accepting from the right. Now, we've also got options for accepting from the back, bottom, and top. You can turn these guys off, and it's no problem. And you can adjust these to anything you want. You know, maybe you want to take blue in from the top, maybe you want to spit out this from the top or the bottom, etc., etc. You can set that up. At the moment, though, we've got it set up to where it's going to spit out all finished products to the left, which is where this chest is located. Again, no need for a pipe. The other nice thing about these machines is you're going to notice on the left here we've got a storage for megajoules or Minecraft joules, depending on how you want to say it. So right now this is going to be powering out at 4 megajoules a tick. And you can see it's doing pretty quick. Now if we come back here and we take the power off of this thing, you're going to notice it's now going to start draining. And here in a second, it's going to start downgrading the amount of power that it uses. So as the stored energy and the energy available drops, it will automatically self-regulate to kind of give you a little bit more bang for your buck. Obviously, it's going to run a little bit slower, but it will run a little bit longer. So I don't know if you really actually save anything, but it is kind of a nice feature to have. So, you know, it will self-regulate, and that way all of your other machines may stay on a little bit longer, and your whole production line won't suffer just because the pulverizer is yanking material. Now, a few of you guys may be asking, well, what is this stuff back here? Well, these are redstone energy conduits, and this right here is a redstone energy cell. Now, with the conduits, you're going to notice they have a little blue line here and a little like orange or red line here. Now, when you click that right there, it goes blue, and what that basically does is it stops the energy. So you can see we're dropping again, and then if I come back over here and I hit it again, now we're filling up just fine. We've got 4,800 MJs. So this right here is where all of the energy is coming from. This is another storage device, and you can see it's storing a fairly decent amount of megajoules. That's 600,000. That's a hell of a lot of MJs. Before this, there wasn't really a way to store MJs. So this allows you to actually store some energy, kind of like a bat box or something along those lines, which is really nice. And it's very easy to configure all of these different setups. You know, you can have it going, you know, passing out from here. You can, when you want to turn this machine off, you can set it up here. You can use a variety of redstone signals to set things up right here so it will emit, or if your machines run out of juice, they turn on, etc., etc. So there's a lot of cool little things you can do with it. But the nice thing is it allows you to set up a power room, so you can actually use your generators long term, even if maybe you've got full juice going in all of your machines. You can now, you know, have a bunch of these little blocks set up in your power room so you can continue to store, and you're not wasting energy, which is one of the main kind of drawbacks, at least in my opinion, that we had previously. Now, with the multimeter, this is another device that has been added. With this, you can see, well, it's going to start monitoring this for 20 ticks, but you can actually kind of see how much juice is flowing down these pipes. So right here with this pipe, you can see we're at network saturation. That means we are pulling as much juice down this pipe as is possible. So if we were to set up enough machines on here, it's possible that we might not have enough juice coming through. And you can see right here, average distribution per 20 ticks is 4.0. So that basically means there's roughly 4 megajoules per tick coming down this little pipe system here to get into these machines. And you do want to make sure you give it time to register those 20 ticks, because basically when you click it, it's going to let you know how much juice is coming through. Now this one right here isn't taking quite as much power. Now I don't know if that's because it's only running when the pulverizer does, or if it just simply requires, oh yeah, it does. It uses less juice. Right there you can see 2 megajoules a tick. This one's using 4, and that kind of makes sense on why we're seeing 6 total combined coming through this pipe. Now the other thing is you can actually adjust the output that we're getting down here to where it will handle that. So right now we only need 10 megajoules a tick max coming down these pipelines. So if we put that back in, we've got 4, we've got 2, so that's a total of 6. And now we're not throwing quite so much juice down this pipe. You know, it's a little bit reduced. And so you can use that to kind of manage what's coming out what sides. So, you know, you can have 10 megajoules going out down that pipe system. You can have another power system coming over here to a different area, let's say maybe another storage cube, and you've got juice coming this way. And it would allow you to kind of differentiate. Unfortunately, there's no way for you to set it up per side. That would be kind of nice if you could put 10 megajoules down that side, and then let's say maybe 10 megajoules or 50 megajoules down this side, etc., etc. So, but as you can see, blue, blue, now we turn it yellow, and it's going to start filling up over here. So this gives you a little bit more usage on your power rooms that you can set up. Now let me show you guys how to make these things. These are very similar to the other ones, except with the other redstone we were using. I believe this is a different, yeah, this is a conductance as opposed to a receptor. With a conductance, it needs electrum ingots, which is a slightly different ore that is brought in with this, and you can see it's just a combination of gold and silver. This mod also adds another type called Invar, which is a different blend as well. Now these right here, the Liquid Transposers, they utilize another machine that I'm going to show you here in a bit to make the the actual cell frame itself using molten redstone. I'll show you guys that machine here in a bit. And then to actually make the frame, you need hardened glass, more electrum, and then a diamond. And then hardened glass is basically just pulverized obsidian and lead ingots. So those are a little expensive. You got to be careful with them, at least initially, but they're not too terrible. Now let me go ahead and show you guys one of the other basic machines. This over here is the Sawmill. Now what the Sawmill does is it takes normal wood that you get and it gives you a little bit more bonus for using that type of wood. So normally if I were to take this piece of wood and put it in my crafting table, I'm only going to get 4 logs for it. However, if I put it into the Sawmill, we're actually going to get 6, which is a nice little change. The other cool thing about it is, let's say we make a crafting bench, we use it for a while, and now we decide we don't need a crafting bench anymore. We can put the crafting bench back inside the Sawmill. It's going to grind it up, and then it's going to spit it out for me in the base oak. So you can actually keep your wood planks and recycle them as you don't need them. And I believe this will work for anything made of wood. I don't believe you'll get the metal parts back though if it's a combination, so keep that in mind. But you know, let's say you're running a tree farm and wood for whatever reason is a hardcore necessity for you. This is a nice little setup that you could use to make that tree farm go a little bit further. One of the other cool things that this mod adds is portable tanks. Now portable tanks also use the hardened glass, which is made from pulverized obsidian and lead ingots. And it's kind of just like you think it is a portable tank. It's something that you can actually pick up, you can move, and you can drop it back down. And what this basically seems to be is a slightly better version of the tanks that I think come with IC2, which they're nice. I mean, they're great for storing. They look very similar. The problem with those tanks is they're not very portable. So like, let's say you want to move some of the water supply around. It was kind of a pain because you'd have to like disassemble it and drain it, etc., etc. But with these, you can actually move the fluid completely. Not only that, but you can actually take it from like the midway point. Like let's say we wanted to pull just this out here, we easily could and take it with us and it would hold onto the fluids. You'll also notice that they have the blue and yellow lights, which the conduits have. And you'll notice right here, this fluid is stationary inside of here because the bottom is labeled blue. So let's say I want to click this, now it is labeled to yellow, that means it will flow and it flows down there. And it allows you to actually kind of handle your fluids even in a single line. So you can actually have multiple fluids going on top of each other. You know, you could set it up to where you have a split so that you can use it to transport. A lot of different setups that you can use. Are we seriously getting attacked by a slime? No. Now, the cool thing about this is, let's say you've got a water supply that's not nearby and you need, for whatever reason, to get some water. Well, right here you notice we've got a nice infinite water supply set up, but taking it one bucket at a time and going back to base and then coming back over here and then back and forth could be a real pain in the ass. However, this will allow you to store up to 8 buckets at a time with it, which still isn't a whole lot, but it gives you the ability to at least bring some. Now you can see at the top the water is filled up, and then let's say we want to move this back with us. We just pick it up like that. Now we've got a full portable tank with 8 MBs in it, which is 8 buckets worth. And then we can stack it right up on top of here, flow it down, and then if we want to fill up that tank, we can just drop it down like that. Now we've got 2 empty tanks. We pick both of those up, and we can go back to our water source, stack them back up, or set them out however we like, and we can use that to fill any kind of liquid that we would like to store. It makes it very easy for you to handle some of those portable liquids. It can be kind of a pain in the ass, at least early game. Over here we've got a slightly more updated setup of what I showed you over there, which was just a basic pulverizer and furnace. Now what we've got here in the bottom we've got the Igneous Extruder. Now what the Igneous Extruder does, it's basically a cobblestone generator. You've got lava on the left, you've got water on the right, and they will combine here in the middle limitlessly to make cobblestone. You can also use this to make smooth stone if you like, but you're going to lose some of the water and or lava over time, which you can see. Let me just go ahead and select that. And you can see Now we're making it. You can see we're consuming water over here on the right. And it's going to use quite a bit of water as you go down and just a little bit of lava. And the exact opposite will be true if we decide to make obsidian. You're going to start chewing into your water or your lava source blocks just like you would in reality if you chose to do that, in a normal generator. I mean, making obsidian is going to require you to use that block. Now, why are we making cobblestone down here, you may be asking? Well, what we're doing is we're kicking it over to the pulverizer. Now, the pulverizer is going to take the cobblestone and it's going to grind it up and it's going to make sand and gravel like we've got set up over here. Now, with gravel, that's an extraneous resource that I don't need. But this right here passes the cobble automatically over to the pulverizer. Pulverizer makes sand, and then it kicks it up automatically to the induction smelter. Now the induction smelter kind of does what we had the pulverizer set up for earlier. You drop an ingot or a raw ore piece in here, it's going to do its thing, and then you're going to see it spit out 2 pieces of iron for each individual block that it gets. It does, however, have the option of making rich slag, which kind of gives you the option to duplicate. It basically replaces the sand. So you can use that instead of sand, and it will give you, it will duplicate the material. Now the nice thing about this is it's automatically duplicating. You don't have to worry about it. It's always going to duplicate. No issues, no problems, and just be easy to handle. However, if you use the pulverizer, as you'll see down here, we were grinding up iron ore, and the iron was making pulverized iron, and occasionally down here in this slot, it made ferrous metal. Now it has about a 20% chance to make this bonus resource, which I talked about earlier. This would let you get a little bit extra stuff. And so with that, like if you're using copper, I think it makes gold dust, iron makes ferrous metal, and there's a whole list of different ore types that it can possibly make. Well, with that extra 20% bonus, you could then take that and use it with slag up here to make even more with to duplicate it. But it's not as an automated process. You kind of have to decide which one you want to do. One requires a little bit more micromanagement, one doesn't. But the really nice thing about this is, as you can see, we've got a nice little 6 slot setup here. I mean, I guess 8 if you count, or 9 if you count the 2 up here, the hoppers. But it's very compact. It doesn't require any pipes, and it's nice and easy to do. And we've got our nice little redstone conduits back here that are funneling all of it. And the hoppers work just like anything else. You just need to make sure in the configuration that you have it set up here to accept the ore, because if you don't, the hopper's just going to sit there and not do anything. Now let me show you one of the other machines that the thermal expansion adds. This is the Aqueous accumulator. Now you can see over here in the bottom right, we're at 597, 598. It's slowly making water, and that's not a lot. It's not going to be filling up very quickly. And that might be a problem if you need water. Now if you surround it with water like this over here, it's going to rapidly increase its amount of water made per tick, and you can actually keep this going for quite a while. So let me bring you guys over here to my steam setup, and I can show you guys the type of well, how fast the water can come through. So we've just got basically a steam engine going here, and you can see right down here it's producing water. There we go. You can see it's ticking up, ticking down, ticking up, ticking down, and that's basically keeping this thing going and full at all times while it's producing steam. Now you may be wondering what these little white things are over here and what these are right here on this that's producing, or that's moving the water back and forth. Well, these are called liquid ducts as I fight off an army of slimes. Oh my god. No! Liquid ducts allow you to replace waterproof pipes from the other mod packs, and they're amazing. They will transfer pretty much any liquid. They'll also transfer steam, and pretty much anything you want to do that is in a liquid form. And you can see we've got that steam flowing over here. The only issue that these run into is they do have a maximum amount of fluid that they can push, and each liquid acts a little differently. So depending on, I think it's the viscosity is what the mod pack author said, these liquid ducts can pull, a little bit or a lot. It just kind of depends. Now the other nice thing about these liquid ducts, which you can't really see, I'll show you right now, is they won't attach directly to other liquid ducts that are full. So like these right here already have fluid going. I start placing these right here, and you're going to notice they're not going to react with these at all. They're not going to interact with them. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to sit there and mind their own business. This makes it very easy for you to run multiple strings of pipes right back and forth with each other, and you don't have any problems with it. It makes it very easy to do something like that. The nice thing though is with all of these running, we're going to be keeping up with the boiler, and it's basically going to be fueling just about as fast as it comes in. I think we might actually be dropping a little bit more than the steam can keep up with, which is why it's kind of, these pipes look like about they're half full. But it makes it very easy to fill these tanks up. Now, another thing you can use them for is draining. So now that we've filled this up on the other side, we've got pipes over here that we want to utilize so that we can drain them a little bit easier over here and use them to power our network. Well, let me get that moved over real quick. As you can see right now, they aren't draining anything. And the reason why is this is an actual tank. This over here is a producer, and it seems to be the difference between the two. If a machine is producing a liquid, you don't have to quote-unquote drain it and use the drain feature. If it doesn't produce and it's just storing, then you are going to need to use the drain feature. And what I mean by that is you need to have a redstone signal applied to it, and then you just right-click, and it will start sucking it out right like that. And that makes it pretty easy to use. Now you're going to notice right over here in the distance, we've got an energy setup. This right here is a tesseract. Now a tesseract replaces teleport pipes basically. So what this little thing does is it allows you to move liquids, items, or energy from one area to another. So over here we've got our steam engines, and they're running. We've got 6 of them going, and they're feeding into our little energy cells up here, and they're coming from a tesseract. But as you can see, there's nothing coming out of them right now. Now tesseracts, like I mentioned earlier, have a maximum amount of juice that they can pull, and I'm going to go ahead, or liquids that they can pull. I'm going to go ahead and show you the liquid duct maximum amount that you can see. So we've turned that on. You can now see that steam is moving through the liquid ducts, and our engines are now turning on. However, they seem to be stopping around 6, maybe 6.5. I think they will actually get close to 7 with this, but you can actually get 8 out of these. Well, how do we do that? I mean, we're pulling from this from 3 different sides of the tesseract, and we've got all of our pipes running. Well, we need a little bit more fluid coming down the pipe. So the way we're going to do that is we're just going to add another liquid duct to pull off of this steam setup. Now, right now, you're going to notice these are not attaching right here, right and left, which makes it very easy for me to run this other pipe. But at the moment, it's also not draining. I just need to come over here, click it with the wrench. Now it's filling up. And you're not going to really notice too much of a difference. Now, you will notice that the liquid duct now, instead of being about half full, seems to be a lot more full over here. Because the last time we did it, if you'll rewind the video, it was about maybe half. We come over here and we click on these. Now they're filling up, and now we're at a locked 8 megajoules. So we're filling all of that up much faster. These are going to be coming up, and they're going to be getting their juice a little bit quicker. And our whole power grid's going to be running a little bit more efficiently. And this is a nice little automated setup. It works well with Railcraft, which you can see right here, which is wonderful. You know, a lot of mods, unfortunately, don't work as nicely together as we would all like them to. Now finally, I want to show you guys the last couple machines here that you might be interested in using in the thermal expansion. We've got a magma crucible here, we've got a glacial precipitator, and we've got the liquid transposer. Now the magma crucible, what it basically does is its goal is to make magma. Obviously, it's going to be melting anything you put in it. It can also make liquid redstone, which you need for the redstone energy cells and the molten redstone for the energy cells and the energy conduits. It can also make molten end, which is ground up or melted enderized. And that lets you, which is what utilized for the tesseracts over there. So we've got our hoppers going in here. If we were to put, well, I guess I can put it up here. If we were to put cobblestone up in here, it's going to drop the cobblestone down into here, and it's going to grind up. And it's going to cost us roughly 20,000. And let me go ahead and show you guys that. We'll drop one of these here. That should pretty quickly fill up. Yep. So if we put one of these cobblestone pieces in here, it's going to grind it up, and you're going to see it slowly working over here. It's going to cost us 20,000 megajoules roughly to get that. The problem is, for every bucket of lava that it makes, or every 1,000 MBs of lava that it makes, if you put that in a magmatic engine, which is one of the other things that thermal expansion brings in, it's a buildcraft it's a buildcraft type engine that will produce MJs based off magma. It's only going to make you 18,000 MJs per bucket of lava. So it's costing you 20,000 to make the lava, but you're only getting 18,000 in return. That's a 2,000 deficit. And that really sucks, and you're basically going to go bankrupt power-wise pretty damn quick. You can see we drained quite a bit there. Well, we're going to put this pipe back on real quick, let it fill up, and then I'm going to show you a little bit easier way to do this. Now, netherrack, which you can get in the nether, which you can see we've got up here, it produces lava significantly cheaper. And you can see it's draining, still coming up. This is going to only cost you 8,000 MJs to make with the netherrack. So you're going to save quite a bit on power that way. You can make a little bit more lava easier that way. And that method can actually allow you to fuel your magmatic engines strictly with netherrack. Unfortunately, you have to maintain your netherrack supply. As you can see right there, that only cost us, well, it's showing about 10,000, but it should be about 8,000 MJs. So that's going to cost you a lot less, and you can actually run your engines that way. You just got to make sure that you supply yourself with enough MJs. We've got the Liquid Transposer here. This is another one of the machines. What this basically does is it either fills containers or drains containers. Now we've got a bottle here, and we're taken off of this water source block. I was recently playing on an Anarchy server where they had water source blocks disabled, and anytime you interacted with one with a bucket, you couldn't set up an infinite resource basically, and water was scarce. Well, with this, bottles don't break an infinite resource. You can take out of that. You could then put your bottle in here. It's going to take the liquid out, dump it into the Liquid Transposer, and you get your glass bottle back. So if you utilized red power, you could use a method there to basically fill your glass bottles on one end, fill it, put them into the Liquid Transposer. The Liquid Transposer would then take them out, and then you could dip it back into the red power machine to have it continuously yank out of that, and it would basically give you infinite water. You could then use the Liquid Transposer to fill buckets or something along those lines, and allow yourself to have infinite water supply even if you couldn't get access to it through an infinite water source. So that's another interesting way to utilize it. I'm sure there's a lot of other features that you could use it for, but that's basically what it does, is it drains and fills. Over here we've got the Glacial Precipitator, and what that basically does is it makes snowballs, snow, and ice blocks. So if for whatever reason you need ice, it will make it for you in nice big blocks, and then you can finally make that igloo that you've been wanting to make. Other than that, I don't really know much other good uses for it. But that is basically my spotlight for the thermal expansion. This is one of my favorite mods. Hopefully you guys found something useful in it and you enjoyed this spotlight. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think you'll find a lot of use out of this, and I think you'll find yourself a little bit less relying on IC2 and relying a little bit more on some of these more cool features in this mod pack. Anyways, hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, click the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next clip.